time lapse. Alright, let's learn you some stuff. First of all, I apologize for the loudness of that machine. That wing. It's the one of the live tools. We're making Saga pocket clips on that machine. It's roaring away at 6,000 RPM. There's a lot of gears and bearings and stuff that it just sounds like that. Okay, so I got my setup done, almost done. All the tools are in, the collets are in. I've half made a part. So, like I've said before on the Swiss, main side will make, you know, half the features, and then it transfers to the sub side, and the sub side can finish all the other side of the part. So I've made half the part, it's transferred, it's sitting right in there, but there was a problem right at the end. Let me show you. Okay, so the last operation is cutting off the bar, the part from the bar. So that's my cutoff tool right there. And as it was, you can't see anything when the coolant's all flying around, but as it was getting close to zero, I could hear and I could feel on the machine that it was vibrating and just sounding gross. And I remember saying to myself, like, oh, that sounds terrible. So there's my part, and I want you to look at that little tiny needle right in the center of the part. That's called a nub or a pip or a nipple or all kinds of different words. I like to call it a nub. So that tells me that either my parting tool is chipped or dull or something, or it's too high. Like, being too high is the most likely cause, and I know I had this issue a couple days ago, last time I ran the lathe. So I gotta spend a few minutes and I gotta dial in the center height of that tool. Let's go into hand wheel, X, fast X. Okay, so I'm moving it backwards now, so that we're off the material, just so I can show you what, if I move it to Y, that's down, that's up. Down, up. So obviously you don't want to be way above the part, you don't want to be way below the part, you want to be basically dead center. I think I've heard some guys tend to like, you know, ever so slightly up or ever so slightly down, like people have their own preferences, and I'm sure there's good reasons behind some of them. I'm just trying to get it bang on. Something's weird. Might actually not be a bad idea to buy a new holder just to have on the shelf, just in case. So when it comes to manufacturing, and especially CNC machining, and especially when you have any skin in the game, you know, if you're a base level button pusher at a horrible job where you just rinse and repeat all day long, then you don't necessarily have this. But so much of the job is problem solving, because there's so many variables. You have to understand the variables, you have to learn them, you have to see them and feel them and be aware to them, and you always gotta try to figure out the problem. So where was I going with this? I don't know, I just always wanted to say that. Been thinking about it for a little while. It's all problem solving, and I love problem solving. So what I'm having right now with the parting tool, I think it's too low, and there's, do I have one right here? I'll get you a closer look. Okay, so I told the machine to put it at where it thinks, this is your y-axis up and down, where it thinks y0 is, and then I eyeballed it, and I think I can visually see that it's noticeably under center line, which is bad. And also, I can't get you close enough with this camera, but on the front of the insert, it's not really supposed to do much cutting. The face this way, where the material rotates into the part, is supposed to do all the cutting. And there's built-up edge, shiny section on the front edge, which means if it's low, then it's gonna push, and pushing is bad. So I think I just gotta dial it in a little bit higher. What I like to do a lot of times is I'll stick the material out. I'll stick the material out a little bit, and then I'll face it manually, and then I'll pull back and I'll look, and then I'll lift it up, and then do it again, and lift it up again, pull the material out, do it again, and then do that until we have, like we have on this side, where we have a little measurable thing. And if I measure the diameter of that, especially on that side where it's more accurate, say it's 10 thou, then I have to move the Y I forget if it's 5 thou based on radius or if it is actually 10 thou down. Other way around. I said that wrong. But you figure it out. There's no secrets to all this. It's all just process control and math and variables and figure out what's wrong. The machine will do exactly what you tell it to do. You just have to understand it. So here's the thing. It was probably 11 o'clock or maybe as far as 11:30 in the morning, that last scene that I filmed. It's now after 6 o'clock. The day just flew by. I spent a lot of time outside and check this out. That is literally from today. From just now, that Sunburn. It was a really nice day outside. I spent a couple hours outside doing strategy meetings and just planning and chatting. Eric and I spent a lot of time together, which was great. We've been meaning to do that for a long time, so that was awesome. A lot of big things going on here at the company that I can or cannot talk about, depending on the topic. Even my face is sunburned. Angela said this side of my face is red and this side's not. I can't tell. What do you think? Anyway, things are good. Things are good. Just I'm gonna feel this sunburn. It's like the first time of the year when I spent a decent amount of time outside and I got toasted. Okay. One thing I'm working on right now, real quick. We got these rapid air airlines when we moved in a couple months ago. They're awesome, except this one, it started making some noise. And I'm like, we're not using it because nothing's plugged into it. And I'm like, what's going on here? Let me load it up. Now it's worse. It's just leaking. So I'm gonna let that die out for a second. I'm gonna replace it right now. This one is hooked up to the kern, which they're telling me is probably too small. This is our 1/2-inch line. Probably want to move up to a 5/8 or even 3/4, just so that the kern and the Aroa pallet changer doesn't starve for air. Apparently that can be a thing, because they both eat quite a bit of air. So yeah, I should probably increase that, but the reason this one here, it's just an extra, it doesn't really matter. But eventually we want to hook up a tire filler upper for cars, because the bay door is right there, so we could just jack the bay door up, string a spool of airline out there and pump some tires whenever needed. But I can't have it leaking because that's stupid, so just going to replace that real quick. Good, no leaks. That's good. Yeah, it's on, system's pressurized. Yeah, can't hear anything, good. So the valve itself went bad. There's probably a seal in there. These ones are kind of sweet because they have, I should be able to do this without hurting myself. They have this button, this clicker button, that lets you halfway remove the fitting and remove the air pressure. So if I turn off the main valve, so it's just going to self-drain. If I click this once, it's going to halfway disengage, and then I'll click it again to fully remove it. So it should work. Perfect. So now it's draining the pressure, and it's almost gone. I'll speed it up by opening the valve. Done. And then I click it again, and the airline comes out. Really sweet system. Normally, with the sliding ball lock connectors, you just go like this and it goes flying. So this way actually works really well. I like the double click. Pretty sweet. We're good. Back to normal. Wear my safety specs. And now to ceremoniously throw this guy away. Good. So I have, let me look at the clock, 44 minutes before I told my wife I would come home and play with my kids and spend time with the fam. Yeah, I said I'd be home by 7, so let's get going. I actually do have parts to make on the Swiss, so let's finish the setup for that. Where did I leave it? It's been 7 hours since I looked at this. Right, I got it now. I was halfway through, almost done, dialing in the Y-axis travel of that parting blade, and it's close. So On a lathe, what happens is you have your, how do I explain this? So you got your bar diameter and you got your turning tool. Maybe I can do it, yeah, in a way so you can see. And if you're wondering about my finger, I smashed it in a window 3 weeks ago or whatever. Really bad. It hurt. It doesn't hurt anymore now, it just looks stupid. Okay, so you got your material, it's spinning, rotating, and then you got your turning tool, and usually you go, you know, down, turn, to center line, and then you're done, because you've cut half the part and the other half's already been cut because you're rotating. So your x-axis tool, because the machine's measuring in diameter, this is 3/8, so 1/1000th of an inch in diameter in actual effective measurement is really only half a thou of movement. So your physical movement is half what your measured movement is. But I think with the y-axis, it's 1-to-1, sort of. The measurements I'm getting, like I'm cutting it under, and I'm measuring the nub left over. And I measured it once at 25 thou, and then I moved it another 25 thou, and I measured 80 thou, not 25 thou. So I'm getting slightly conflicting readings, just trying to understand that and get it dialed. Because if that's the case, then I can't math, well, I should be able to math my way to 0, but only if I understand it properly. So if you look closely, I left a pretty big nub on the end there, and I'm actually going in there with the calipers and measuring its diameter, which tells me how high up above the center line I am. And when you get it dead nuts 0, there's no nub left. But you can still be up or down, you know, 5 thou or so and still have no nub, but it looks good, but it's not perfect. So I'm just trying to dial in as close to perfect as I can without going crazy. That's my life. Boop, 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 boop. G54, end of block, inserts, T210, D0, inserts. Okay, let's see where that gets us. Okay, so I left it at plus 25 thou on Y, but I'm measuring an 80 thou. And there's a 25 thou offset, so I'm 50 thou above, but I'm measuring 80 thou. I don't know yet. 77-ish. And the wild Eric has emerged from his cavern and is rummaging through my stuff. So the real question is, did you get a sunburn too?
A little bit. A bit. I got more of a base last week though, so I already burnt myself, so I'm a bit bitter today, but it's still maybe a little red. But that's not too different from like a ginger skin.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, this was my first major time outside for any period of time, so it hit me. 6 feet, man, 6 feet. So trying to make sense of this, trying to do things logically. Right now I'm down to a 20 thou vertical offset from the machine's theoretical 0. So at 50 thou, I was measuring 78 thou nub. At 40 thou, I was measuring 64 thou nub. At 30 thou, I was measuring a 45 thou nub. And I go down to 20 thou now, and I did it, and the nub was small enough to just break off and not really be measurable after that. There's definitely still a nub. So I need to go a little bit lower, but I can't quite get in there to measure it at 20 thou. Wow, that's exposed. There we go. So try 20, maybe I'll try 10. Maybe it should be 0? I don't know. I don't think so. Okay, so at plus 10 with a machine offset of 0, we're looking pretty good. We are looking quite tasty in here. No nub. Can I even fingernail it? I don't think. It's not the greatest finish in the world because the insert's a little toast, but there's no nub there. That's good. I might leave it there. Okay, the problems I was having before was this was plus 5 thou, whereas now we've got it at plus 10 thou. I think it's going to be a lot happier here. So I'm going to run some parts here and see how it sounds. That's a bit better. Okay. Anytime, nice tripod, GorillaPod falling over. Stay. I think I need a new GorillaPod. A JOBY. Plus the table's all oily and it's just slipping all over the place. That's the bigger problem. Okay, that's better. Anytime the door is open, you have limited functionality on the control, on what you're able to do. So there is a little hidden button over here on the side. So you push that, and then you hold this little hand button for 3 seconds until the light turns off, and then you can hit cycle start with your thumb, or like I have to do right now, I have to hit sub-call it open, which I heard that, oh, you can't see it. That call it just opened up, and my part is in there, and I can't get it out. There is my half-finished part. Teeny tiny. So this side is not finished yet. That's where the Torx will go. That's where the dots and the radius and the chamfer. Oh, this finger's so gross. Here, I'll stick it up. So half finished, fully finished. That's what's got to happen next. Yeah, I threw this one away because to test out the parting blade, I'm gonna make another one. So, boop, throw it in there. I ended up replacing the parting insert because I looked at it closely and I pulled it out to look at it, and it's got a little chip in the corner from the gross soundingness that I was talking about before. So glad I replaced that with a new one in there. I just did a nice little facing pass with the new one, and it looks amazing. No little pip in the middle, and should be good to go now. So let's make another half a part. Check this out. Another little Tornos hack that's kind of sweet, actually. So everything's backwards. Okay, you got channel 1, you got channel 2. Channel 1 is your main side, channel 2 is your sub side. So if I want to run just the Torx milling, just the program on the sub side, I go to channel 2, it's going to run, you can see up in the code display window. Let's flip around. Whoa. Flipping the mic around. Can't forget that. Okay, yeah, so you got channel 1, channel 2, and then here's your code. Let's go to memory, which will show a code, reset, rewind. So main side, turning, threading, part off. Sub side is mill the Torx, mill the chamfer, the dots, everything like that. So again, if I want to run, actually I'm getting ahead of myself here. Since right now I just want to run the main, I don't want anything to happen on the sub side. I just want it to stay there. What I gotta do is I gotta hold these two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then let go the one I don't want and hold on to the one I want, and now we have this flickering light showing me that only channel 1's gonna run right now. This side not gonna do nothing. That's what I want, that's what I want. I like to flip back and forth and make sure that I don't have something like block delete or optional stop on for one channel and not the other channel. See how that works? I don't want them on, I want them off, both channels are off. Good. We'll close the door. Tell it to close the door. I'm not going to do this while holding onto the camera. That's just always a bad idea. That's better. Okay. Double check. Good. So obviously it's super hard to see what's going on. But it did the turning, that was the threading, this is the Higbee, the little blunt start thread. Back to threading. Oh no, it's cut off. You have to stop it. Because otherwise it's going to part it off and lose our part. I'm standing there like holding the camera with one hand. I'm holding the loose floppy mic in the other hand while running a machine, and like I have to stop. Holding a camera is distracting. That's okay. I caught it just in time, so it hasn't done much. I can stop it. Good, we got our part. We got our part right there. I got something to show you. For all the nerds out there that are actually enjoying learning deeper lathe stuff, this is kind of cool. Alright, let me learn you some stuff. So like I said, channel 1, channel 2. But how do you sync them? How does it know what to do there and what to do there? Well, there's these magical things called weight codes. M9000 is a weight code. So 9203, this program over here will have somewhere a 9203. It's got a 9000, 9001, 9002, 9003. So this one, they're gonna go until they wait for the next one, and then this one's gonna run until they wait, and then they're gonna go again till the next, till the next, till the next, and they could have different chunks of code. Like one side could be waiting for minutes, whatever, until it reaches the next wait code. And part off is a perfect example. So the part's finished over here, and now the sub spindle has to wait, or the main spindle has to wait until they're both available. And that's what the weight codes are for. Until both the codes are coming together, until a point when they're like, okay, yeah, I'm ready for part off right now. Let's do that. So I'm gonna take it out of this flashy mode by hitting both of them. Now I'm in channel 1, now I'm in channel 2. Channel 1, channel 2. Give it a Wayne's World there. Go to edit. I'm gonna scroll up, it won't take much. This is my cutoff preparation code, and a little bit higher. 9200 is my part off. Notice how I put all these brackets to like separate, makes it more obvious. 9200, and then I got to go over to here, click number 2, and then I got to scroll down, because this is our Torx milling profile with a tiny end mill and adaptive cutting. It's a lot of code, so I just go to the bottom and then scroll up a little bit. 9200 weight code. So it doesn't matter that they're not synced. It does not matter. The fact is my yellow cursor's on 9200, yellow cursor's on 9200. I want to be on channel 1, and I want to be back on memory. And now, and this is my one piece at a time button. Now it'll make multiple pieces, now it'll make only one piece, right after cutoff. So if I run it from here, the door is closed, I can literally hit cycle start, and then, but again, I don't like doing it while holding the camera. Hit cycle start, and then the sub spindle is going to come in, and it's going to clamp, and it's going to cut off, and then it's going to come back here, and then it's going to stop. That's where we're at. That sounded amazing. That sounded huge difference from the last time. Huge. Okay, we're good. Now, aside from minor tolerances, the main side is prepped. It's ready to go. Now I got to touch off the sub tools, and then ready to go. However, I have reached that magical time of the day when I told my wife I would leave the shop. And I am a man of my word. As much as I can be, sometimes I forget. Sometimes I don't give it enough importance. Today I'm going to. Besides, I have I have probably another half hour of work at least before this thing's humming away making parts, and then there's some warm-up and offset tweaks and stuff. I'm not running it tonight. I spent my day in meetings today instead, which was epic. So I'm coming back tomorrow. I'll run parts. And then hopefully tomorrow I can run it all day, and then run it at night as well. Load up a bunch of bars. Some of the tools, like the little tiny tool that cuts the Torx pattern, it breaks after like say 400 screws. So I can't just make a million because that tool doesn't last forever. So I gotta be careful, but I do love coming in the morning and seeing this thing still running. I've only done that a handful of times. That is a very pleasant experience. You're like, yes, it works. It's cool. So anyway, I'm gonna go. I hope you guys found enjoyment, or well, enjoyment's a good word for it, out of this episode, and should be able to film some stuff tomorrow as well. Good old Saturday at the shop. Yeah, Sky should be here tomorrow, so maybe Sky and I can film some stuff together, and it'll be just the two of us. Ta-ta for now. Or TTFN, as my dad says. I'm not going to adopt TTFN, but I'll give it to you guys if anybody else wants to adopt TTFN. Ta-ta for now.